My name's Ryan Pierce, and in the DC circle, I'm what people like to call a born and bred rich kid. Third generation money, old Beltway family, the Prince of DC, if you believe the tabloids I wrote about myself when I was drunk and bored. The night I realized I was surrounded by fakes, like I'd slipped into some messed up novel full of stock characters, I did the only sane thing I could think of. I told my crush, my unreachable dream girl, that I was in love with her. She said yes. We were wrapped around each other on her apartment balcony, city lights burning under us, and I closed my eyes and prayed. Please, let the cardboard people disappear. Let the crazies go orbit someone else. God did not get the memo. The fakes didn't go away. They just stopped being strangers and became the people standing right next to me. That was the first book. Same title, earlier mess. Hashtag one. This whole thing, the realization that people around me were off, started because my cousin broke up with his longtime girlfriend. My cousin Ethan Pierce. He and Hannah grew up together, same cul-de-sac, same prep school, the whole childhood sweetheart cliché. And then one day, he texted me from some Georgetown bar. Asterisk bro, come get me. I'm done. Asterisk. By the time I got there, the band was loud, the floor sticky, and Ethan was drunk enough to be hugging a bucket of beer like it was his emotional support pet. I just pushed past a wall of people and waved at him when someone stepped in front of me. A woman in a tiny black dress, eyeliner smudged, lipstick still perfect. Ryan, she slurred. Want to sleep with me? What? For a second, my brain blue-screened. I stared at her and managed. Sleep what? She leaned in, breath full of tequila and sugar, red lips parting slowly, like it was a movie and not my actual life. Me? Not easing into it at all, huh? I jerked back like she tried to stab me. Hannah, are you out of your mind? She looked like someone had kicked her puppy, hurt and furious at the same time. I'm not crazy, she snapped. Ethan dumped me. After all these years, he dumped me. For my worst enemy. Her eyes shone, glassy from booze and rage. If I can't be his wife, she said, voice shaking, then I'll be his sister-in-law. I'll marry you. Excuse me? What did any of this have to do with me? Did my safety and dignity not exist? Hannah, she tried to close the distance again, weaving on her heels, and I signaled to a passing bartender. Hey, can you keep her here for a sec? I asked quietly. My assistant's on his way. The bartender sized up the situation, then planted himself between us with professional indifference. I called my executive assistant, Mark Shun. He showed up in 10 minutes, collected drunk, determined Hannah like she was a broken printer, and hauled her out. Then I went to drag my cousin home. Ethan was at the corner booth, face red, eyes wetter than the beer he was spilling. Ryan, he wailed when he saw me. I know Hannah doesn't have a great reputation, but I really love her, okay? To prove it to my dad, I bet him I could help her turn her life around in 2 years. 2 years, man. I did everything for her. She knows what my dad's like. She knew how much pressure I was under, and she still didn't change at all. I lost the bet. Now I have to accept his arranged engagement. He sniffled hard, voice breaking. I just told her to give me some time, and she dumped me. He clutched his hair. How did it end up like this? I'm so freaking miserable. You're here, crying over her, I thought, and your ex is plotting to sleep with your cousin as revenge. I rubbed my temple and ruffled his hair. Hannah's reputation sucks, and she's technically the result of an affair. Breaking up is doing you a favor. Your dad's match for you is actually pretty great. I thought I was being fair, but he flared up. Ryan, not you too. Everyone's prejudiced against Hannah. He grabbed my sleeve, earnest and hazy. She's a hidden gem. You just haven't dug deep enough. Diagnosis, terminal lovesick idiot. I pull my hand back. I've got enough gems. I don't need to go digging. And you don't need to drink yourself to death. I didn't need a drink. I might as well die. He tilted the bottle again. This time I didn't stop him. After a few seconds, he realized I was too calm. He squinted at me, confused. Why aren't you stopping me? I took a sip of water, expression flat. Uncle David said that if you drink yourself to death, he's selling your body to one of those families who do posthumous marriages. Ethan, his flushed face went gray-green. He smacked the bottle down and lurched to his feet. I'm going to talk to my dad. I watched him wobble toward the door and couldn't help the wicked little grin. Love-brained idiots are disturbingly easy to manipulate. Hashtag 2. I dropped Ethan off at Uncle David's place and left them to whatever fireworks came next. I didn't have time to care. My mom had just opened a winery out in Virginia, and she dumped the launch tasting event in my lap. I've been running on caffeine and spite for 2 weeks. On the day of the tasting, she'd even booked a trending actress to attend for buzz. And Hannah showed up. The memory of her at the bar hit me like a migraine. I immediately tried the if I walk fast enough, I'm invisible tactic, but she'd already zeroed in. Ryan, she called, tottering over. About that night at the bar, I'm really sorry. I was drunk. I said crazy things. Thank God. I let out a breath I didn't realize I'd been holding. Maybe her brain really had rebooted. Then she added, very calmly, sleeping with you is a joke, but asking you to marry me? I was serious. We could do a contract marriage. Never mind. Her brain wasn't rebooted. It had caught a virus. I clung to my last shred of patience. Hannah, I have a girlfriend. We're very happy. She actually clicked her tongue. We be a contract couple. I just want the title, Mrs. Pierce. You can do whatever you want after. As long as you give me the respect and image that comes with it. I won't interfere. You won't interfere? I laughed once sharp. If I give you respect, who's giving me any? And you show up trying to pressure a guy with a girlfriend into marrying you. And you're talking about being respectable? I wasn't even exaggerating. She flinched like I'd shoved a knife into her. Ryan, I only came to you because we grew up together. And I know you. If I walk away from your family, it's not like there aren't other men out there. Then go find someone else. But right now, I'm most satisfied with you. Do me a favor and stop being satisfied. Ryan, I promise you won't get the short end of the stick if you marry me. Heir. At some point, this stopped being annoying and became surreal. We have no feelings for each other, I said. Let's skip the feelings question. What would I gain from a contract marriage with you? Your family business is about to go bankrupt to the tune of $1 billion. Your personal talents consist of partying, online shopping, and flunking every class. She flinched again. Ryan, do you look at nothing but those things when you marry a woman? What else was I supposed to look at? Her aura. She caught my blank stare and stomped her heel. Ethan didn't care about any of that. He wanted to marry me because he loves me. I'm Ryan, not Ethan. I don't love you. She froze, like that possibility had never occurred to her. How could you not like me? Why would I? I rolled my eyes and signaled security. 2 guards gently but firmly escorted her out of the winery, and I told staff she was not to come near me again. The little drama had drawn attention. My mom and my girlfriend, Lily, came over. What was that about? Mom asked. I summarized it in one sentence. Cousin's ex wants me to marry her to save face. My mom's eyes flashed. She thinks my son is a walking trash can. She's got a death wish. She didn't look like she was joking. I grabbed her arm. Mom, I'm 24, not 18. Let me handle it. If people see you charging in every time something happens, they'll call me a mama's boy who can't deal with conflict. She shot me an eye roll. Fina. But if you screw this up and hurt Lily, I'm peeling your skin. I didn't even have to think. Not happening. Satisfied, for now, she went back to schmoozing investors, leaving me alone with Lily. I reached for Lily's hand. She slipped her arm through mine like she'd been waiting. I was just starting to enjoy the warmth of it when she brought up the last person I wanted to hear about. The woman who'd spiked my drink and then, in some twisted version of regret, slapped me twice and called it waking me up. About Claire, Lily said softly. After she drugged you at that hotel, my dad had her transferred to some family land way out in rural Pennsylvania. She's farming, no internet, no car. She won't be back in our lives again. You don't have to be angry anymore. Why bring up walking bad luck at a perfectly good event? I grimaced. She's your family. You deal with her. You're always so busy. Half the time you don't even have time for me. Don't waste the little time we get talking about cursed people. Lily paused, then laughed. Okay, no more Claire. I know a bakery near here that does insane pastries. Want to sneak out and try them? Always. #3. Before I knew it, Lily and I had been together 100 days. She was drowning in work, of course, so for our anniversary, we managed a quick dinner before she had to head back to her office. Overachiever and workaholic, what a combo, I muttered after I walked her to her building. I thought about heading back to my own office to plow through a few more hours of email, but my childhood friend Noah Grant texted, *dinner. I am dying. Emergency bro meet. Noah and I had known each other since we were 5. He'd grown up in a well-off Alexandria family, inherited his dad's temper and his mom's good looks, And under it all, he was still the kid who'd once tried to fight a teacher for taking my toy robot. We met at a bar near DuPont. Noah ordered whiskey like water and leaned in. "I like someone," he said. "Congratulations," I said cautiously. "She's a student," he went on. "Her name's Maddie." He told me how Maddie sometimes let him take her out, but she always seemed weirdly guilty. Eventually, he'd asked one of her friends, and the story he got sounded familiar in that bad way déjà vu kind of way. "There's this girl at her college," Noah said, "some poor kid. Straight A type. All the professors love her. She's been spreading sexual rumors about Maddie, like really bad ones. But because she's the golden student, the administration always takes her side. Whenever Maddie tries to push back, she gets shut down. So she just takes it. Can you believe that?" Noah had always been a neighborhood terror, allergic to injustice if it touched anyone he cared about. "So," I said slowly, "what are you going to do?" He grabbed my shoulder. "That's why I need your help. Here we go." My stomach tightened. "Ryan, that girl likes to spread sex rumors? Fine. I'll give her something real to deal with. I want you to sleep with her." I blinked. "What? Sleep with her?" He repeated calmly, like he was asking me to pass the salt. "Hook up with her, get some pictures, text them to me. I'll leak them. I want Maddie to get justice." I stared at him. "Are you concussed?" "Ryan, I'm serious. You're single. I'm not single. I literally have a girlfriend." He waved that away. "Okay, you're not married. Whatever. She's supposed to be hot. It's not like you'd suffer. If I didn't love Maddie, I'd do it myself. But sleeping with anyone other than her would make me feel gross. So I'm what? Your designated gross friend?" He didn't seem to hear that. "Imagine her face when the whole school sees she's not some innocent saint. That'll teach her to mess with my girl." I just stared. "Dude," I said finally, "you're not just stupid. You're evil and stupid." He frowned. "What's so evil?" "She humiliated Maddie. I'm just giving it back. And what part of this made you think I would help you? Do I look like a revenge porn service?" "We grew up together," he said, honestly confused. "Isn't it natural you'd help?" "Natural my ass. Anyone with a conscience wouldn't touch this with a 10-foot pole." I rubbed my face. "Noah, are you naturally this dumb, or did Maddie scramble your brain? You don't even know if she's telling you the full truth." "She wouldn't lie to me," he said immediately. "You sure?" I shot back. "Say this with me. Girls can lie too. What if Maddie's the one doing the bullying, and the poor kid is the one getting her life wrecked? Even if Maddie is innocent, you think it's noble to destroy another woman's life like that? As a dude, you know how bad this would look? To her, to anyone." He scowled, offended. "Maddie wouldn't make that up. She's the woman I like. Ryan, we've known each other for years, and you won't help? You're really going to sit there and judge me?" Again, evil and stupid. I stood up. "Here's my advice, free of charge. Before you do anything, get the facts straight. Find out who's actually being harassed. Otherwise, you'll screw over the wrong person and tank your own future along with hers. In your father's company." His mouth tightened. "I don't need you meddling in my life." "Cool, then don't ask," I said and walked out. I went home. But that night, lying in bed staring at the ceiling, my conscience wouldn't shut up. What if he didn't listen? What if that unknown girl ended up destroyed because my idiot friend wanted to play vigilante? 2 hours later, I rolled over and called Mark. He didn't answer the first time, or the second. On the third, a groggy, murderous voice came on. "Mr. Pierce," he said, "do you have any idea what time it is?" "I need you to look into something," I said. "You get 7 days off and a bonus next month." A pause. Then, in his normal professional tone, "What can I help you with, sir?" ## 4. 3 days later, Mark dropped a file on my desk. Inside, everything about Maddie, the scholarship girl, and the mess between them. It was exactly what I expected. The story was upside down. The poor kid spreading rumors was actually the target. She worked part-time at a coffee shop Maddie frequented, and one night, she'd seen Maddie cozy with a married man. Hand-holding, kisses, the whole cliché. A few weeks later, she'd seen that man's wife show up and throw water in Maddie's face. Maddie had smoothed it all over eventually, but the scholarship girl had seen enough. And Maddie knew it. So Maddie started making her life hell, subtle little digs, rumors, frozen smiles. She had money and connections and a polished act. The other girl had grades and a backbone. Every time Maddie tried something, the girl dodged. It drove Maddie crazy. Right about then, Noah, the human battering ram, had wandered into Maddie's orbit. The rest wrote itself. I made copies of Mark's report and had a courier deliver one to Noah's office. 2 hours later, my phone lit up with his name. You think this is funny? He practically screamed the second I picked up. You think you can smear Maddie like this? You're the one who's disgusting. Beyond saving. I whispered him into my head and hung up. Then I blocked his number. After that, I created a new email and sent the scholarship girl everything, photos, notes, timelines, with a simple line. Asterisk, be careful around Maddie and Noah Grant. Asterisk, her reply was polite, almost formal. Asterisk, thank you for the warning. I won't let them succeed. Asterisk, see? Perfectly civil. I done what I could. The rest was her story, not mine. Not that my life got any quieter. Another childhood friend came knocking. Jacob Reed, heir to a shipping empire based out of Norfolk, net worth in the billions, who, for reasons known only to himself, was currently dressed like he'd lost a fight with a thrift store clearance bin. Head to toe, he probably wasn't wearing more than $70. My internal alarm went off the second he texted. Asterisk, beer? Need advice. Asterisk, I changed locations 3 times before I let him know where I was. He still found me. We clinked bottles. The moment our hands brushed, I got a static shock. Of course. Jacob had a girlfriend from a low-income background, someone he'd apparently decided to go undercover for. You don't know how hard she's worked, he said earnestly. Top of her class. But her parents died when she was little, and now she's responsible for her grandparents and kid brother. It's rough. He took a swig. I want to tell her who I really am, but I'm afraid it'll crush her. She's proud. She hates lies. I could see where this was going, and I did not like it. What pressure could she possibly feel knowing her boyfriend isn't broke? I asked, aside from the pressure of being lied to for months. He leaned back, eyes distant. You don't get it. Luna has a lot of pride. If she knows I'm rich, she'll think she doesn't deserve me. There it was. The she doesn't deserve me line. I sighed. So what's the plan? Don't tell me you're actually thinking of hiding your identity and testing her like some crappy romance novel. I thought of the messy, over-the-top romance stories Lily sent me when she was trying to de-stress. You're not actually doing that secret billionaire storyline, are you? I expected him to hear the sarcasm. His eyes lit up. He slapped his thigh. Ryan, that's actually brilliant. Get out, I said. Seriously, he insisted. I pretend to be broke and see if Luna sticks by me when I have nothing. If she passes, I reveal everything. Happy ending. Jacob, I said, you realize I was mocking that idea? He smiled like a man in a trance. The more I think about it, the more I like it. He flagged down the waiter. Hey, can you box up the rest of this food? Nothing fancy, just plastic containers. My girlfriend doesn't like it when I splurge on eating out. I looked at the remains of the dessert he was pointing at, a cake that had been mauled and half covered in used napkins. You're not serious, I said faintly. What? It's still edible, he said. It's not for me anyway. You're disgusting. He shrugged. She's used to eating leftovers. That actually made my vision blur. Who the hell cares if you die of shame? I snapped. You want a relationship? Have an honest one. Can't you afford a fresh slice of cake? Or are you emotionally bankrupt and cheap? He recoiled, hurt. You're yelling at me? This was your idea. I stared at him. Dude, you really want to say this out loud, huh? You're the one with the test plan, he muttered. You feel like she's beneath you. I said, patience gone. You're terrified she's only with you for the money, and at the same time you enjoy that she depends on you. You want to be worshipped for your pure heart. You want a reason to keep her in this powerless position while you play God. His expression crumpled into anger. That's not. Don't even start. If you really respected her, you'd give her the truth and let her decide what she can handle. I exhale hard. Look, you want to play your little game? I can't stop you. But keep me out of it. If you drag my name anywhere near your bullshit, I'll go to Luna myself and tell her everything. That got through. His jaw tightened. Fine. I kicked him out. I didn't go to Luna. She wasn't my responsibility. She figured it out herself. When I heard she confronted him and walked, I almost threw a party. One less woman caught in the crosshairs of a man's character development. Then Jacob called. He didn't say hello. Ryan, he yelled, you are such a snake. I didn't tell Luna you said anything. I didn't drag you into this. And you still went behind my back and told her. I rubbed my eyes. I didn't tell her a damn thing. He steamrolled over me. You couldn't stand to see us happy, could you? You already landed Lily, and you still want to steal my Luna? I'm telling her everything. Let's see how Lily likes hearing that you're chasing some other girl. He hung up before I could respond. I stare at my phone, exhausted. Why were they all losing their minds at the same time? Was this some cosmic age, 25 crisis, where every man around me turned into a caricature? Thankfully, Lily didn't take anything at face value. She texted, "Asterisk, can we talk? Heard something weird from Jacob. Asterisk, we met at her office. I told her everything. Noah's revenge scheme, Jacob's test, the rumor Luna had found out from someone else." I watched her face, braced for anger. She just frowned thoughtfully. Those two are something else. It'd be healthier if you kept some distance. Then she added, "By the way, what's that scholarship girl majoring in? We need new blood at my firm. Might be a good environment for her." I thought about how I'd mentally promised to never speak to Noah again anyway. "Done," I said, and forwarded the scholarship girl's resume to Lily. She hired her a week later. #5. Word that I'd broken with 2 childhood friends before I'd even officially taken over the family company eventually got back to my mom. She sat me down, arms crossed. "You're terrible at handling relationships. You can't treat clients like that. You're taking over peers' holdings early. I want you to feel the pressure for once instead of coasting through life planning winery parties." I apologized out loud. In my head, I was thinking, asterisk, they're idiots, I'm not the problem. Asterisk. Then came the company's annual gala. That night, in front of shareholders and partners and a ballroom full of people in tuxes and gowns, my mom stepped up to the mic and announced that I'd officially become the primary heir and that I'd just been granted a new block of shares. Toast after toast, handshake after handshake. Even my dad, who was a federal judge and rarely appeared publicly at corporate events, had a staffer quietly drop off a gift box for me backstage. My ego, I'll admit, was having a pretty good time. That lasted right up until the ballroom doors slammed open with a loud bang. A woman in her 50s, one of our former housekeepers, marched in gripping the arm of a guy about my age. Her name was Linda Foster. She'd worked for our family for years before she got fired for stealing my mom's jewelry and trying to blame another maid. She pointed at me and shouted, "Ryan Pierce is not the real Pierce Heir. He's my son. This is your real son." The room went dead silent. I froze. My mom froze. Linda plowed on. "I gave birth to Ryan. While I was in the hospital with Mrs. Pierce, they mixed up the babies. I've waited 25 years to tell the truth." Everyone in the room audibly inhaled. So did I. Fantastic. I didn't even think. "I'm not your son." Linda's eyes filled with tears, cued right on time, like she'd practiced in the mirror. "Sweetheart," she sobbed, "I've missed you for 25 years. Don't you want to come home to your real mother?" "No," I said flatly. Who in their right mind abandons the woman who raised them from infancy for an ex-employee crashing a corporate gala? She chose tonight out of all nights. She wasn't here for maternal bonding. She was here for leverage. "You ever heard of a con artist?" I said. "This is a new one. Scam my identity. You say I'm your son. Where's your proof?" She pulled a folded, yellowed paper out of her purse like she was playing an ace. "This is your birth certificate." I laughed. "Why will my birth certificate be with you?" "Mom." I turned to my mother. Her face was green. My stomach dipped. "That's a fake, right?" For a second, a very stupid, very loud thought screamed through my head. Asterisk. What, she's a fake too? What if everyone's fake? Asterisk, maybe my mom was just a really good actress. Maybe she'd accidentally raised someone else's kid without noticing for decades. That would be terrifying. I try to salvage it. A piece of paper proves nothing. If you're that convinced, we could do a DNA. Over my dead body, my mom snapped, cutting me off. She stepped forward, voice cold and furious. "So you're the one who took it," she said. Linda blinked. "That birth certificate," my mother went on, "the one my husband and I spent months tearing apart our house looking for. We thought the hospital lost it. Do you have any idea how hard it was back then to get a replacement when you had one kid and the government breathing down your neck?" She jabbed a finger at Linda. "Do you know how it feels to be yelled at by doctors and bureaucrats for being irresponsible when their system screwed up and all along the damn papers in your purse?" I sagged a little in relief. My mother only ever talked about that one incident when she was truly upset. She kept going. "You show up here with that, and you think you can rewrite reality? Ryan is my son. You think I wouldn't notice if I'd raised the wrong child for 25 years? Linda rallied. Mrs. Pierce, you can't just ignore biological facts because you want to hog all the company shares for your own son. Ryan came out of my body. You can't keep a mother from her child. Moral guilt-tripping. Wrong audience. I don't care who came out of what, my mom said. Ryan is my son. Linda sputtered. You? And what? Exactly, my mother continued. Made you think waving an old document in front of a room full of investors would make a difference. My husband and I own stakes in half the hospitals in this city. We have quarterly checkups in those hospitals. Every 3 months. For 25 years. If there was some problem with Ryan's identity, do you really think none of the doctors would have said anything? She snorted. Stop watching soap operas. They've rotted your brain. My mom, still my mom. A queen. People around us nodded like they'd just been handed a memo. She's right, someone whispered. Ryan's her clone anyway. Look at their noses. Yeah, and this woman thinks she's about to become rich overnight? Dream on. Linda, realizing the crowd wasn't on her side, turned to the young man she'd brought in. He looked vaguely terrified. That's your mother, she hissed, shoving him toward my mom. Call her. He blinked. Mom, she said I'm your real son. Bullshit, my mom snapped. I personally demanded they recheck the babies that day. That kid isn't mine. The room collectively gasped again. Linda blanched. She realized, too late, that she'd just admitted to trying to switch babies. I mean, no, that's not. I didn't let her recover. So you try to swap your kid, I said. Security. Call the police. Mark was already on it. Security blocked the exits. The police arrived within 15 minutes and escorted Linda out. The gala was wrecked, of course. Most of our guests were long-term partners. There was nothing to do but move from table to table, apologizing for the chaos and promising follow-up meetings. By the time I finished the circuit, I was drunk on champagne and embarrassment. In the bathroom, I splashed water on my face and nearly wiped out on the marble. A hand grabbed my arm. Careful, a woman said. Thanks, I muttered, not really seeing her. I made it down to the underground garage where my mom was waiting in the back of the car. We slid in. #6. I stared at the dashboard lights. Mom, I said, did she really try to switch babies? Yes, she said. So, is there any possibility she succeeded? Am I actually yours? My mom could have lied for the sake of corporate stability. If she needed a smooth transition, the Heir being fake would be a PR nightmare. She rolled her eyes. Of course she switched the babies. And of course I switched them back. How did you know? I asked. She looked at me like I'd asked why water was wet. You were in my body for 10 months, she said. A mother who can't recognize her own child just doesn't care enough. Have I ever, in your entire life, looked like I didn't care? I thought about every time she'd slapped me upside the head when I'd screwed up. No hesitation, full strength. I nodded seriously. Then she smacked me again, even harder. Exactly, she said. Yeah, definitely my mother. #7. The birth certificate circus didn't dent my future at the company. If anything, seeing me navigate the mess, make calls, and keep my composure, mostly, made some of the older board members grudgingly respectful. Our stock bumped up a few points after the gala, and financial blogs started writing think pieces about the handsome young Pierce Heir and fresh leadership energy. I got smug about it. That lasted until reality took a chainsaw to my schedule. Running the company was a grind. Endless meetings, impossible deadlines, and a constant stream of problems that all bubbled up to my desk. Which is why, after nearly passing out on my keyboard one night, I told Mark to hire more assistants. HR posted the listing with generous pay and benefits. We got flooded with resumes. After 3 rounds of screening, I was told I'd be getting 2 new executive assistants. Both women. One had a sharp haircut, tailored blazer, and a cool, almost frosty expression. Her name was Shannon. The other was small, doll pretty, with big watery eyes and a soft voice. Her name was Wendy. What, no guys? I asked Mark under my breath. He didn't even blink. If we don't hire female assistants, people will start thinking you're gay, sir. You what? You're 24, attractive, no public dating history, and you only have me at your side. You know how people talk. I have a girlfriend. No one knows that. Also, as long as I'm the only one following you around, people will assume I'm your type. I had no answer for that. So Wendy and Shannon stayed. That was my first mistake. The second mistake was assuming the screening process meant anything. The first day, when he brought me coffee, she tripped and spilled it all over a stack of documents. She didn't grab napkins. She didn't yank the files away from the spill. She just stood there, eyes filling with tears, lip trembling. Mr. Pierce, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to. I took a deep breath. It's fine. Clean this up, then reprint the documents. She sniffled. Okay, and toddled off, looking like a rained-on puppy. That was the beginning. The next day, she put salt instead of sugar in my coffee. The day after that, she hit delete instead of copy on a stack of scan contracts. She walked through the analytics department and somehow managed to kick the power strip, wiping half an hour of unsaved data. She brought a bowl of soup into a conference room and spilled it on the carpet mid-presentation. Every single day, a new disaster. And every time, she'd look up at me with those huge wet eyes, voice wobbling. I really don't know why I'm so clumsy. I'm such an idiot, but I promise I'll do better next time. My patience had limits. March ran out first. Wendy, he snapped one afternoon after she bumped into a printer so hard it jammed. There's no next time. You're fired. She turned to me in panic. Mr. Pierce, what did I do wrong? I'm just not very skilled yet, but I'm positive and cheerful and my heart is pure. Why doesn't anyone like me? What were we supposed to like? The chaos? This was a corporation, not preschool. I confirmed what Mark said. She left in tears. Shannon, on the other hand, was competent, quiet, efficient, and a little cold, but she never messed up. She also had this weird depth of knowledge about agriculture, like weirdly detailed. So when we decided to move into high-end organic produce for our retail arm, I brought her along to meet the owner of a rising California agribusiness. When the owner walked into the meeting room, I did a double take. She was young, maybe a year younger than me. Dark hair, steady eyes, a presence that said she'd spent more time in fields than in boardrooms. And she looked familiar. She smiled. Long time no see, Ryan. I placed her face. 10 years ago, before the nanny swapping scandal, there'd been another family's mess that had rocked our circle. A girl originally from the Blake family, sent to live with relatives for a while, then reclaimed, only for everyone to realize no one could recognize her. Parents, siblings, grandparents, they all looked at this girl like she was a stranger. It had been a horror show. You or I started. Leah, she said. Back then, it was Leah Blake. Now it's Leah Green. We caught up briefly. After the Blakes had failed to know their own kid, Leah had ended up in foster care, then been adopted by a couple who ran a small farm in the Central Valley. She'd learned about soil, crops, and supply chains, then turned that into a business that now supplied organic produce to half the West Coast. As for the Blakes, after they'd relocated to California, their old money empire had tanked. No one in our circle mentioned them anymore. You did the right thing walking away, I said. She shrugged, smiling. They're nothing to do with me now. Let's talk numbers, Mr. Pierce. We signed without haggling much. I wasn't going to nickel and dime someone who'd carved her own empire out of dirt with her bare hands. When we wrapped up, Leah surprised me with a quick, grateful hug. Back then, you tried to help, she said quietly. So thanks. She left, and I turned to find Shannon looking at me like I just cheated on my taxes. What? I asked. Mr. Pierce, she said, hugging another woman in the office. How is that fair to Lulu? Who's Lulu? #8. She looked almost conspiratorial. You don't have to pretend anymore. The internet already dug it up. You and Lulu are secretly married. I stared. Keep talking. She pulled out her phone and showed me a trending Twitter topic. #blacklisted actress Lulu married to DC King Ryan. My own nickname made me wince. I'd started that DC Prince thing as a joke once. Apparently someone believed me. The thread was full of screenshots. A photo of Lulu, real name Lucy Rowe, arriving at my mom's winery launch. A blurry shot of her at our company's winter gala. A grainy still from the elevator security cam, where someone, her, caught me before I face-planted outside the bathroom. Lulu's fan base was in a frenzy. Who cares if her acting sucks and her singing's off-key? Our girls still bag the DC Prince. Ryan is stupid hot. They're perfect. They're hiding their marriage to protect her from more hate. He loves her so much he's willing to be the bad guy. I am crying. I rub my temples. I barely know Lucy Rowe. We are not married. Shannon shook her head, sympathetic. You're sweet, sir, trying to keep her safe. But it's okay. We all know. That's the problem, I said. Everyone knows. Except me. She blinked. I'm serious, I said. We're not married. She looked genuinely confused now. I abandoned that conversation and went straight to Mark. In 10 minutes, he had the answer. Lulu had attended my mom's winery opening and the company's gala as a hired guest. Paparazzi had taken photos. Fans had connected dots that didn't exist. And then one overexcited gossip blogger posted a thread titled, "Here's why Lulu and the DC prince are definitely married." It had gone viral. The clincher? That one moment outside the ballroom bathroom, when drunk and dizzy, I'd nearly fallen and some woman had grabbed my arm. That woman had been Lulu. I'd muttered a thank you and walked off. The internet, however, had decided she was my secret wife. If stupidity was a natural resource, we'd have solved the energy crisis. Before I could even start drafting a PR statement, Lily called. "Did you marry someone?" She asked calmly. "You saw the trend," I said. She made a small sound of agreement. My heart dropped to my shoes. Lucy and I are not married. We've spoken maybe twice. The photos are out of context, and I sent her everything Mark had dug up. Angie-style conspiracy charts, timelines, all of it. She believed me. Then she hit me with the one question I'd been asking myself for months. "Ryan," she said slowly, "why is your life always like this?" I didn't have an answer. Was I cursed? Haunted? Being pranked by the universe? "Sometimes," I said, "it feels like the whole world is one big, low-budget improv troupe, and I'm stuck in the middle with the craziest script." She sighed. "At least you're self-aware." After we hung up, I told Mark, half joking, "Buy me a gun." His eyes went huge. We live in a city with strict gun laws. Also, if you're serious, I'll have to call the police. I opened my mouth. He held up a hand. "No, if you have enough free time to fantasize about mass murder, you have enough free time to watch some legal education." He dragged me to the big conference room and put on a 2-hour true crime docuseries about idiots who thought they could solve their problems with violence. By the end, my blood pressure had dropped and my homicidal fantasies had been replaced by anxiety about forensic teams. The world had rules. Most people followed them. I needed a better solution. So I asked Lily to marry me. She said yes. We said date. In the weeks before the wedding, I started picking Lily up from work more often. That's when I noticed him. A younger guy, maybe 22, always lingering near her office door. They'd talk, sometimes laugh. Sometimes he'd hand her a file. Alarm bells went off in my head. This was exactly the kind of thing people predicted online. That you think your girlfriend is pure, but she has some foreign exchange, student, white knight X storyline. "Who's that?" I asked one evening, trying to sound casual. "My junior for grad school," Lily said. "I'm looping him in on some accounts before I take wedding leave." Relax. The internet had trained me not to relax. "Really?" I said. She leaned in until her mouth was by my ear. "He's gay," she whispered. I froze. "Oh, so maybe calm down," she said, laughing. "He has a boyfriend he's obsessed with. He'd probably recommend skincare to you if you asked, but he is absolutely not stealing your girl." I still wasn't entirely convinced. "Things that happen to me would not pass a background check," I said. "What if he randomly decides he's into straight guys? What if I'm his experiment?" "You are not that irresistible," she said dryly. "You are not the protagonist of the universe. Weird things happen around you, I'll grant you that. But not everything in the world is about you." I thought about the past year. Could have fooled me. She squeezed my hand. "This world is one giant amateur theater, sure. But you're not the only one on stage. Breathe." I tried. Time blurred. The wedding came faster than I was ready for. The junior never popped up again. On the day of, I was tense from the time I woke up. Everything went perfectly. Lily walked down the aisle on her father's arm, dressed simple and beautiful, eyes bright. My mother cried exactly as much as she'd promised she wouldn't. My dad stood in the second row, watching with that small, rare smile he only used for us. At the altar, Lily's fingers threaded through mine. "Ryan," she whispered when the officiant paused, "don't be nervous. We made it this far. We'll keep going. No matter what happens, as long as you like me, really like me, I'll believe you. I won't leave." I squeezed her hand back. "Okay. You may kiss the bride," the officiant said. I leaned in. Our lips met. And then, in the back of my mind, behind the music, behind the applause, behind the sound of my own breath, I heard something. A metallic, emotionless voice. "Achievement complete." Congratulations, host. You have successfully exited the absurd novel and returned to the real world. Black.